You're listening to the Entrepreneur Show, and this is episode 29. In this episode, we're talking about a few really helpful time-saving hacks that you can use to create and launch your course when you don't have a lot of time. Hey guys, I'm Mariah.
And I'm Megan.
And today's episode is brought to you by our Launch Your Signature course student, Jen Baxter of liveafastlife.com. I love Jen. She's actually a friend of mine from way back when I was doing all tiny house stuff. That's how we originally met. So we've been friends for a couple years, and she created the course Declutter, Detox, De-Stress as a collection of e-courses designed to help you clean up your home, your body, and your life. After going through a series of personal traumas and the decline of her health, Jen Baxter embarked on a journey to a life that is stripped down and cleaned up by getting rid of physical clutter, toxic food and products, and emotional baggage. Now she teaches others how to do the same things so that they too can live lives that are truly abundant and fabulous. And I will say that Jen is super fabulous in every single way. Definitely go and check out Jen's courses at www.declutterdetoxdestress.com. Okay? I'm super excited to dive into today's episode all about time-saving hacks so that you guys can make the most of the time that you do have and increase your productivity, especially when it comes to the project of creating and launching your own course.
Yeah, everyone's busy. I feel like we've been in this theme this month of time management and productivity and being efficient. And so I hope you're all enjoying that. Please let us know if you are. But I think that this is such a great thing to talk about because we create courses all the time. And I feel like we have some good tips to share. So hopefully, whether you've never created a course before or you've created 100 courses before, hopefully some of the steps and hacks that we're going to share with you will help you save more time when you're creating your course.
Yeah. So you're never, I think one of the big things we're going to talk about today is just the idea that in all of these examples, you're never truly starting from scratch. You should never feel like every single time you go to do something, you're starting from scratch. And one of the things that I kind of messed up on when I first started creating courses was that I was never really taking the time to do something the right way the first time so that I could save time later. And I always felt like I was starting from scratch, right? I always felt like when I sat down to write a blog post, it was like staring at a blank screen, not knowing what to do. So today we're going to talk about how to save all that time using some really smart little hacks that we have put together. So the first time-saving hack that we have is to leverage what you already have. So this means that what you have to do, sit down with a piece of paper and take inventory of any digital assets that you already have or any content that you've already created. And this could be something that you've done in other parts of your life. So I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't, I'm creating this new course and I'm starting from absolute scratch. And I'm like, you might have some existing content that you can actually repurpose to become like a lesson in your course. I know for me, the first course I ever created, I had a little bit of leverage because I had written a 30-page paper for school. So I'd written an essay for college that was about the topic that I was creating my paid course about. So I was able to say, well, I have 30 pages of written content that I can leverage, but I had to take inventory of everything that I had, right? So I need to think of what are the things, and you really need to sit down and think about it and write it down. Like taking inventory is like, what is the content or assets that you already have created that you can pull together and repurpose. And if once you look at all that stuff, you might realize that you have more to go from than you thought. This could be blog posts that you've written that can easily be repurposed into videos for a course. It could be webinar content that you've created. Those can actually become slides for your course. It's totally fine that those were free. You know what I mean? Like it's totally fine that your blogs and your webinars were free. Now you're repurposing them. You might polish them up a little bit, update them a little bit when you actually go to record them as videos for your premium course, right?
Yeah. And I had some other ideas in case maybe, I know we have students who maybe don't have a blog yet, and they're like starting this journey of online business from zero. So they haven't necessarily done business content, but you've probably written something though that can still be repurposed. So maybe you're in some Facebook groups that you've posted, you're sharing info, or you're answering questions. Like when was the last time you really took extra steps, extra few minutes to really answer a question? Can you take that content you already wrote in a Facebook post and reuse that somewhere? What about Instagram posts? We have so many people with good Instagram, followings that don't necessarily feel like they have a business yet, but they're sharing tons of content in their Instagram posts. So can you look at something you shared there? Maybe you're on Reddit. Have you been sharing posts and content there? Have you sent an email to a friend? I know I have friends that have asked me about my health, like what workouts I do. And I have sent them emails of like every workout and my reps and like little pictures I found online. And if I ever wanted to do something with like health and wellness, that could be a great starting point, even though that's not something that's businessy.
Or like the emails that Matt sends you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The emails that
Those
Matt
are always
sends
fun.
you with like a list of like every research of every camera that he's looked at.
I know. Yeah. Thankfully, for those that don't know, Mariah's boyfriend, Matt, he's great at video and photography. And so I always send him little
he's great
requests
at
for research. Like, please tell me what external hard drive I should buy. Thanks. Yeah, that would be great. And then another example is anything you actually are already using. Like, did you create a spreadsheet for yourself that you use in your life that is benefiting you and that's related to the course you're going to create? So whether you've had a business or not, I just wanted to suggest some other alternative areas that you may have created something that you wouldn't think of.
Definitely. I love the idea of have you responded to other people's questions, whether it's on Reddit, in other forums, or on Facebook groups, because if you've spent time typing out an answer, that can totally be repurposed as course content or pre-launch content or anything like that.
Yeah, it's at least a starting point. But I like what you like. I love what you're saying about we're not saying in your brain take inventory. Like actually make a list somewhere.
Write it down.
Like make a tangible, whether it's a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, make a tangible list somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And once you pull that stuff together, you're going to look around and be like, oh, like I have a pretty good start. This is less overwhelming, like you have stuff that you've done before. All right, so that was number one, is just leverage what you already have by taking inventory and repurposing. The second time-saving hack that we have is to always use a template. We're going to talk about 3 different kinds of templates. We're going to talk about like content templates. We're going to talk about design templates and also process templates. So that's like we have templates for how to set up a webinar or how to set up a giveaway or how to close out a launch. We have like process and system templates that aren't templates that you look at, but they're templates that you use to like finish a project.
Like a checklist. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So basically the idea here is that you never need to really start from scratch. The idea that, if you feel like you're opening up a Google Doc, you're staring at a blank page and you have no template to go from, and it's like, here, write these 7 launch emails, and you're just staring at blankness. It's like, how are you ever going to get started? And you're going to waste so much time because you don't even know, well, what's the structure? What is the idea of this email? What should the words be? What should it include? So you really need to use a template. So we give you tons of templates in Launch Your Signature course, but some of the things that you're going to want to definitely have templates for and find templates for is like I said, like a template for how to write your sales page, a template for how to write those emails, a template for how to create social media content, or even a template for like, if you're going to use Facebook ads, like what should the Facebook ads say? Stuff like that. You just don't want to be starting from scratch. You want to always use a template in any way that you can. And templates have really like saved us so much time and energy and money over the years because we actually got serious about having places where we keep all these templates. We even have a Google Drive course folder template, which is something that's going to be in Launch Your Signature course. That's like, here's how we organize our file structure. Like that's a template that we have. So every time we go to create a new course, we build out this template file structure. So it's all there. We're not just starting from scratch and making random documents in this like random folder. It just helps so much.
It just helps. And I think like you were saying, to me, it's all about avoiding the blank page. And even if that means in Asana, which is what we use to manage all of our tasks and projects, it's like avoiding opening a new project and being like, okay, now what do I have to do to accomplish this? It can just be overwhelming and not help you be efficient and productive and save time. So again, we have templates like this that we offer our students in our programs, but you can also find templates like this. Like I share some templates on my YouTube channel. Like you can search on YouTube or Pinterest and maybe come up with, templates that you need for your business and your course that can help jumpstart. Even if I have an email template that I use, and that's a Google Doc, it's not a process template. It's more of like a content creation template where it's just like, it just guides me through the process of writing an email for my list. So it's like, okay, who's this going to go to? And I write that. And then it's like, what's the goal? So I kind of remind myself the goal of this email. And then it's like, oh, okay, great. And like, what's the subject line? And
call to action.
And then it's like, what's the outline? So I can take like 3 or 4 bullet points and just outline the like high level topics I want to touch on. And then by the time I'm actually sitting there to write out the email, I feel like I already know, I have such good context. I have a game plan. And so when I'm actually writing the email, it's like, I can just kind of whip it out. And that saves me the time. Before I would just sit there and stare at a blank Google Doc or stare at ConvertKit and a blank broadcast and just kind of scratch my head and like procrastinate. And so even whatever that looks like for you, how can having something besides a blank page help jumpstart you?
Absolutely. That's a really good point. And you can totally find templates. We have templates in Launch Your Signature course. Well, we have templates in all of our programs. But like you said, look for templates. We have a lot of free templates also. We have a free template that's going to go with this episode too. But I want to say it's the same thing too with building out your website or doing anything design related. You want to make sure that you're working with templates. There's the content templates that we talked about. There's also design templates like for your landing pages, your webinar pages, and your sales pages. You want to make sure that you're not just staring again at a blank Squarespace site that's just like, here's a blank page, like a white page. What are you going to put on it? You want to know, I need a header, and then I need a detail section, and then I need a testimonial, and then I need a price grid, and then I need a module section. Don't just start from zero. You should always be using a template, especially when it comes to designing stuff like a landing page or a webinar registration page. Because a lot of times those templates have been tried and tested. The same thing with like a lead pages template. It's been tried and tested, and you know that it's going to convert well, as opposed to just like designing it from your own brain and not knowing what works and what doesn't. And you're going to waste a lot of time doing that. So this is the same reason that we sell Website in a Box, which is webinar templates, landing page templates, sales page templates, blog templates. Like it's a template for every page that you need on your site because we already know what's working. And then you build out the whole framework and all you have to do is type in your content and it's already all there. The structure is there. Other
examples I have for like design templates that would help you, webinar slides or course slides, like having a template that's already designed that you can just plug in your content. That's always really helpful. And then like worksheets, like whatever worksheets or workbooks you're using and creating, like have a template version that you're just duplicating every time you go and create a new one that's already,
like in Canva.
Already there. Yeah, like we use Canva for that, and it's so easy to just like duplicate and then you just change the wording. So
like for checklists, that's really helpful.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, love those.
Yeah, and the same thing with like in Launch Your Signature course, we do give you guys like templates for like PowerPoint or Keynote presentation templates for creating your course slides and like mock-ups and like graphics, like icons and stuff like that you guys can use, because using the templates is just going to save so much time from just starting from absolute scratch. Okay, this is like a really big one. And then the third type of template is the process template or checklist, like I was saying, which is like setting up a webinar, like go through this process template. It's not like I'm sitting there trying to remember every time I set up a webinar, wait, what's the next step? It's
Did
like
I do that? Yeah.
Yeah. You're just going through a checklist, and it's the same process for anything. Publishing a blog post, like recording a podcast episode, like it's all in a process template so that you're not thinking from scratch every time, how do I want to do this project?
Yeah, definitely. So templates are life.
Templates for the win.
And I think you touched on an interesting point I just want to reemphasize that you would cut corners, and not in a bad way, but you would cut corners when it was just you as a solopreneur, and you wouldn't take a few minutes to set up a template, which I totally get. I was even doing that myself for my own business, because you're just like in a hurry. And so I want to challenge anyone that's listening, solopreneur or not, are you cutting some corners and not taking 1 minute to just like go ahead and duplicate a Google Doc? Like maybe you go ahead and do it manually one more time, and then can you save that one version and duplicate it for all the other times?
Yeah.
And take those few minutes, because I know once you started using templates, Mariah, you said you felt like so much better about like you were saving time. You felt like you had a clear head with everything. I don't know.
Sometimes I would struggle to create content, like writing a blog post. I would literally be stuck not writing a blog post for the simple reason that I didn't know what folder to put it in. Or like I didn't know, like it's so simple and so dumb, but the things that would stop me from making progress would be like, well, I don't have a slide template. Well, I don't know what folder to organize my blog posts in. Well, I'm not really sure where to put this Facebook post, so I'm just not even going to write it because I don't know where that's supposed to go. You know, it's like, don't let that stuff stop you from creating. And once you do have templates in place in every part of your business, you're going to be like, all you do is like create stuff. You're not like fucking around with like all the dumb bullshit that you have to, I don't even know.
I know what you mean.
Explicit. Explicit tag for this one.
No, but I just want to encourage everyone that it's worth it. You will feel great. And just like you said, it can be one thing at a time. You don't need to like be like, today I'm going to create templates for everything in my business.
No, and you don't sit down and like create templates. You make them as you go. It's not like something that one day you all of a sudden have 100 templates. It's like this happens organically as you grow and as you figure stuff out and as you create a process. You might not have a blog post process, but as you develop one, you can develop your checklist for that as well.
Definitely. Okay, so that was number 2. What's our third tip? Our third hack?
Number 3 is to make a skill trade with someone else who is better at the thing that you're bad at. So basically what I mean is finding someone who has different skills than you and doing a skill trade so that you both save time. For example, if you are a designer and you're really good at design and you can design someone's logo in like 15 minutes. I'm not saying this is like a whole creative process logo. I'm saying like you can put someone's name into a nice font in 15 minutes. And you're good at making graphics or whatever, but you hate writing. And for you, the idea of writing the copy on your lead magnet landing page is going to take you 10 hours because you're just like banging your head against the wall. It's not your zone of genius. But you can find someone else who can whip out awesome copy for your landing page in like 5 minutes, but she's really bad at design and she really needs someone to create a graphic for her landing page. So you guys can trade skills so that you both end up spending 15 minutes doing something that you're good at instead of both spending 10 hours doing something that you both suck at. And that's something that I really want you guys to think about. And the reason I brought this up is because I see this happening all the time in our student groups. Like we have private Facebook groups for our Launch Your Signature course students and for your First 1K students. And I see them doing this all the time where someone will be like, oh, like I hate setting up the technology of ConvertKit. It's like too confusing or whatever. And someone will be like, oh, I'm happy to help you fix that. And they'll be like, oh, I can help you write your about page or whatever. So there's always sort of trades happening where you can find someone in the community who has a skill that you don't have, who can get something done faster. So it's much easier if you can kind of, it's kind of like the precursor to outsourcing, but it's basically just saying you're not actually paying someone. You're still going to return the favor. But if it only takes you 10 minutes to do something that would take them 2 hours, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, you're still saving yourself hours of work and work you wouldn't be happy with. Whereas you might actually be thrilled with what the other person has created and like really excited about it. So I like that idea. I mean, to me, that's a hack that I don't feel like I hear a lot of people talk about. Like I hear people say this, trading your skills when you're, just starting out in your business, but never necessarily from this angle of like how it can save you time. Like the time saving aspect of this. And a good place, like you already suggested, a good place to find this is in a trusted Facebook group, people who are working towards the same thing. Like it works really well in our groups because they're all course creators. So they all know our process and everyone's on the same page. So they don't have to like explain what they need because they already know what they need. So
right. If it's like, oh, I need something that works with website in a box, it's like everyone already knows what that means.
Yeah. So, I mean, keep in mind like where you're asking. If they don't know exactly what you want, you don't want to, there could be a little education you have to provide. But if you're in a group of people who are on the same path as you, that's even easier.
Yeah. I think we have a free Femtrepreneur Facebook group, which is also a good place to look. You guys can join at thefemshow.com/community. But we have I think we have a prompt that's like, what are you really good at and what do you need help with? So it's like, what's something that you could help someone else with and what's something that you're really struggling with that you need help with? And it could be like someone else needs your help, with, I don't know, but there's just so many things you could make trades with other people who have something that you need and you can easily provide what they need as well. It's just about knowing what you're good at, knowing what your sort of zone of genius is, and trying to do stuff that's within that so that you can save time.
Definitely.
Awesome. Okay, so number 4 is all about repurposing your launch emails. So I'll just explain that in our sort of ecosystem and in our launch universe, every single piece of content that we usually are sharing during the launch, it stems from my email sequence. So a lot of times what began as an email now has become part of our 3-part video series. It now has become copy that we use on the sales page. It now has become posts that I put on Facebook. So basically like launch emails are where all of the content for your launch are born. And then it's kind of amazing how many times and how many ways they can be repurposed. And I'm not joking when I say literally all I do is like write this launch sequence, which does take time and energy. But once the launch sequence is done, it can become videos. It can become audio. It can become Facebook ads. It can become Facebook video ads. It can become everything. And it all stems from reusing pieces of the launch sequence. So each email can be turned into a blog post or podcast. It could be turned into a Facebook post. Every pieces of the emails become Instagram captions. Obviously, you can take a lot of tweets and Twitter content out of an email when you really cut it down. And you can even turn those emails into webinar content because a lot of the emails in the launch sequence that you send, which is, all stuff that we teach in Launch Your Signature course, it's the same principles as what you would need to cover in a webinar. A webinar is just a different format. So it might sound redundant. We actually, on purpose, you need to have a lot of redundancy in your launch. It's actually part of the strategy is to repeat yourself many, many times because people need to hear something 7 times in order to even start processing it, especially to become most aware of it in order to actually buy. So there's a lot of repetition and redundancy, and that's on purpose. That's actually a strategy. And it's just amazing how when I first started out, I felt like I had to write new content for every single platform. I thought that I had to write 7 emails, and then I had to write 10 Facebook posts, and then I had to write 10 different Instagram posts. And then I was like, and then I'm starting from scratch writing.
So overwhelming.
Oh my gosh. And then I was like, then I'm going to have to write all these blog posts. Every single thing I thought I had to create brand new content. But what I realized was that the way that it actually works better is when you repurpose all of that original launch email sequence into every different channel of content. So that is just if you're sitting there feeling like you are overwhelmed because you have to create a million social media posts and Facebook posts and Instagram captions from scratch, you don't. All you have to do is write the email sequence and then pull from that to create everything else.
To me, this is the most brilliant thing that you do. I feel like...
I think so too.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We agree. No, but it's just been... Because I do feel like this has been a process you didn't necessarily start with this realization.
No.
And so it's been fun to also watch this become a gradual thing that we realize we can do and how effective it is and how much easier it is. and how it makes sense. Like if you really think about the launch sequence, you're doing a whole journey. Like you're doing a story. It's done in a way so that people could jump in and still get what they need. But ideally, someone goes through this whole process. But then you also run into the dilemma we've talked about before of, well, not everyone necessarily, even your biggest fans, may miss an email. And so by taking some of that content and putting it in other mediums, they can still get that message, even if they just saw your tweet or they saw an Instagram post or a Facebook post. Maybe they didn't open email too, but they saw your Facebook post that day. So they're still getting that step in the journey you want.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it makes sense as like having a cohesive brand and a cohesive story that it makes so much sense that it should all, sorry, I hit my mic, that it should all stem from the email.
Getting so excited.
I got talking with my hands so much. But I just love that you do this, and I feel like everyone should do it. And I feel like it changes the whole game. Like you don't have to write 10 Instagram captions, which somehow seems overwhelming to me. But
it's multiple touch points is what, and it's so just like Megan said, you're really not gonna, you're not gonna have the best results, or like you're gonna be missing out on opportunities if you only put this content in an email. And think about all the people in your audience who see your stuff on Facebook, they see it on Instagram, they might watch your Facebook Lives, right? Facebook Lives can totally come from just an outline of your email content. They maybe only see one of those, but like imagine if you only put the most important information about your launch and your course and what they need in order to buy. What if you only put that in your emails, and then like your emails don't get open that often? Like, let's be honest, the majority of the people on your list aren't going to open your emails. So it's just really important to make sure that you're sharing that important messaging and that important information on all these different channels, and redundancy and repetition is key here. And it's just like Megan said, did not start out knowing that this was the right way to do things. I think I originally thought every piece of content had to be brand new, never seen before. But then you realize like, well, then no one's seeing any of this content because such a tiny percentage of my audience is seeing any one thing.
I just love that not only is this a good strategy for launching in general, but the time saving that comes from it. You just spend time on this one medium and creating this story, and then literally the rest can be pulled from there. And if you have a virtual assistant or a team, like they could even do that part for you.
Of it.
Like you could just write the emails and then ask your assistant to go in and be like, will you pull out 20 tweets from all of those emails and pull out 10 Instagram captions and Facebook posts. And then if you need to tweak a little bit for context, you totally can. But at least like that has saved you ridiculous amounts of time. And so I just feel like that's like, if you only do one thing, but hope you do all of it. But if you only do this, like do this.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So let's recap the 4 time-saving hacks. So the first one is leveraging what you already have. So take inventory. It doesn't matter if it's small posts or questions that you've answered. What is the content or assets that you've already created that you can use going forward? Just like Megan said, it doesn't have to be content. It could be like a spreadsheet that you use that you want to make into a workbook in your course or something like that. Just look at what you already have. Number 2 is using templates. So using templates for content, using templates for design related stuff like your website or landing pages, and using templates and, for Canva and designs and graphics and stuff like that, and using templates for every process that you have in your business. Number 3 is making a trade with someone else who can do what you're bad at, but they can do it faster. And that you would trade with them so that you can quickly do something that would take them a long time as well. So both doing something that you're good at and helping the other person out. And then the 4th one is repurposing your launch emails into every other piece of content that you need for your launch. Blog posts, Facebook posts, Instagram, webinar content, Facebook Lives, everything. It all comes from those emails. So I hope that this was super helpful for you guys. I personally really like this episode.
Me too. I mean, I feel like even though I witness us do these things, it still reminds me of ways I could be better at executing some of these in my own stuff, and how starting from the emails is such a great place. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed. Be sure to go to thefemshow.com/29 for the show notes to this episode and to find the links to all the resources we mentioned. And we do have a freebie for you that is a template that can help you jumpstart if you want to revamp your website. We actually have a Start Here page planning worksheet so you can design your homepage really strategically. So we'll have the link to that below this video if you're on YouTube, or in the show notes if you're listening to the podcast. And if you want to discuss this episode with us and our amazing entrepreneur group. Why do I always stumble when I say amazing?
We can change the script if it's confusing. It might just be badly written.
But if you want to discuss this episode with us and our whole community of amazing, ambitious entrepreneurs, make sure you join our free Facebook group at thefemshow.com/community.
If you like this episode, please subscribe to the Femtrepreneur Show on iTunes and leave a rating and a review. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it would mean so much to us if you would subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment below, because we really do like talking to you guys in the comments. If you have a question for us, please go to thefemshow.com and submit your question. We will give you a shout out on the show, and we will answer it for you right here every week, as we do. So we'll see you guys next time. I'm wearing this like weird sweater that makes me look like a Charlie Brown character or something.
It's like the red version of Charlie Brown.
It's like, what is it? I don't even know.
You're like the evil Charlie Brown?
Yeah. Something weird. Okay. You're listening to the cut that out.